So I know a lot of people have been asking, well, what's a good reel that, isn't going to backlash, or how does this thing backlash? How's the castability on it? So I wanted to show you with that, the brake set on 5, and compare it to the new upgraded trilateral brakes. So my spool tension is set the same way, ball's still the same, pretty normal. Okay, so I want to show you with the brakes set on max how this does. I'm going to cast this as hard as I can. I'm going to take my thumb off the spool and show you. Can you hear the difference there?
What is happening, fishing friends? Welcome to another episode, and today we need to talk about the Speed Demon Pro Reel. Now I'm going to go over all the specifications and features of this reel, but as I'm talking about all that, I'm also going to compare it to the old Speed Demon. Yep, of course, my frogging reel. Oh my goodness, I haven't cleaned this thing for about a month. You can tell it's been frogging, but we'll go over what's the same and what's different, the new version, Pro version, compared to the old standard Speed Demon. Starting out with the body, KastKing has lightened the body on the new Speed Demon Pro. This only comes in at 6.5 ounces. Now the old standard Speed Demon weighed 8.3 ounces. They've done that through a carbon body, as well as a carbon star drag and a carbon handle. They've really tried to cut down that weight to make it easier on you fishing this thing all day, especially when you're frogging. Of course, this reel comes in right or left-handed retrieve. Speaking about the retrieve, there's something a little bit different about those handle grips, huh? You'll notice these have the super polymer grips. That's one of the things people notice first, those bright orange grips. They feel very similar to like a golf handle grip or a tennis racket, that kind of soft yet sticky, tacky feel. I like them. There's not a wrong way to grab them. You grab on and it doesn't matter where you're at, you can start cranking. You compare that to the old Speed Demon, and I got pretty accustomed to these grips. I like the EVA foam knobs. They're kind of a flat. Some people like them, some people don't. It is really a matter of preference. But how about the brake on this? You'll notice the brake dial looks the same, but the brakes are upgraded in this. As you can see inside this reel, they both have the trilateral braking system, but it was a pretty nice upgrade added to this. They've got 3 magnets on each of the sections, as opposed to the standard Speed Demon, which had only 2 magnets on each section. Now you can tell the difference when you cast this out. You can certainly tell the stopping power of the brakes on this. You can tell the difference when you cast this. It's pretty hard to backlash it once you crank those babies up. Pretty good casting reel.
Yeah, all right, so now that we're out on the water, I wanted to actually show you how this thing casts. So I've got my external magnetic brake set at about 5, just a tiny bit over 5. And my spool tension set pretty normal, so my bait falls pretty quick. Goes down to the water there. So nothing crazy special. So I want to show you with the brake set on 5 how this casts. Quite a ways out there. You can see the spools on there, the holes. That's how much line I took off, and that wasn't anything crazy, just a regular cast. That was probably, I don't know, 40 yards. You can see how much I'm reeling on a 9.3 to 1 reel. It's a lot of line out there. So I'll show you one more time, just a regular cast. It's a good ways, all the way down to the holes. So I know a lot of people have been asking, well, what's a good reel that, isn't going to backlash, or how does this thing backlash? How's the castability on it? So I wanted to show you with that, the brake set on 5, and compare it to the new upgraded trilateral brakes. So my spool tension is set the same way, ball's still the same, pretty normal. Okay, so I want to show you with the brakes set on max how this does. I'm going to cast this as hard as I can. I'm going to take my thumb off the spool and show you. Can you hear the difference there? The difference in the magnetic brakes, and I'll even loosen up my spool tension so you can see that I'm not doing this with my spool tension. I'll loosen that up so that falls a little quicker. Just like that, that falls at a good rate. Now I'll show you again. That's a cast as hard as I could go. Now, of course, the distance is significantly decreased this way, but for a newer angler or somebody that struggles with backlashes, these magnetic brakes are quite strong. So I'll show you one more cast. I'm going to give it a really hard cast, see how far I can get it out there. And there it is, no backlash. So hey, you might say the casting distance isn't that great, but for somebody that's really struggling, this is a great tool to have. Turn those brakes all the way up and you're not gonna worry about backlashes. You don't have to worry about how tight do I have my spool tension. And a lot of times you can do that on a reel and set your spool tension all the way up so the, the bait doesn't fall. But that's my bait there, falling like regular. And those brakes just set all the way up on 9. So one more time. And you can hear how much those magnetic brakes are slowing it down. So that's the castability on this. I just wanted to show you out on the water exactly how that casts. Let's go back and take a look at the rest of it.
What about that spool? You will notice if you take your spool out, that looks a little bit different, doesn't it? Yeah, it's not your standard looking spool. When you compare that to the old Speed Demon spool, Ah, yeah, a little bit different there, huh? The new Pro Reel is utilizing a two-piece split main shaft. So instead of having the one main shaft, this long shaft here that goes through your pinion gear, they've changed that. What does that really mean? Well, you've got a bearing here and a bearing here. So really this spool is just sitting on two bearings. So in theory, it allows you to cast farther because you don't have the friction from the actual spool shaft rubbing on your pinion gear and other things in there. And I've noticed from taking this out, you can throw a bait quite a ways on this. I've been fishing the frog on this, and you can kick a frog right there about as far as you need to. Putting it back together is quite simple. Instead of having that long shaft that goes in there, you just put that short side in, click it in like normal, and put your side plate on. Nothing to it. Of course, it's got the standard spool tension. It does not click, but it's got the cool little KastKing shark there. As you can see, this is a 12+1 bearing system, the same as the standard Speed Demon 12+1 bearings. The Pro model has 13.2 pounds of carbon fiber drag. Of course, this is a 9.3:1 gear ratio, the same as the standard Speed Demon. But they have upgraded the main gear. The brass main gear is now a Japanese Hamai cut gear. Feels pretty good in the hand when you spin it, nice and smooth. How about line capacity? I know people are wondering about that. Well, it just so happens, they got it right here for you. 160 yards of a 12-pound mono or 150 meters of a 0.29 millimeter line diameter. That just so happens to be the same as the old Speed Demon, 160 12, 150 0.29. In case you're wondering about audible adjustments, the star drag on here, as you can hear, does click. The spool tension knob does not click and does not click on either of these, but the star drag on the standard Speed Demon does click as well. So if you have any questions about the Speed Demon Pro Reel or how it compares to the standard Speed Demon, let KastKing know in the comment section below. They would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So let KastKing know in the comment section below, which reel would you like to see next? Would you like to see a couple KastKing reels compared to each other? Maybe some of the new reels coming out? Comment below and let them know. They would certainly appreciate hearing exactly what you have to say. So if you're not already following the KastKing channel, please consider doing so for more informative videos just like this, or gear reviews like this, I should say. And until next time,